Good morning, my dear students. It's a pleasure to have you with me today. As you have selected the topic of elective personality development and teamwork skills, I, Dr. Kamlendra Tyagi, welcome you all. I am the coordinator of this presentation of this elective, and I am here to detail you out what at all you will be studying in this elective. This elective is composed of constellation of stars, pinnacle of presentations, the best presentations which has been prepared by one of the most finest minds of homeopathy. My presentation in the starting was related with what is personality, spectrum of personality development. Followed by this eminent homeopath from India, Dr. Kalpit Sangvi will be delivering his lecture on personal and professional development, fostering personality. After that, there will be a lecture related with the intelligence, that is emotional intelligence, which is simultaneously related with cultivation of a positive mindset. Then an eminent homeopath, Dr. Naveen Pavaskar, shall be delivering his thoughts on creative thinking, personal grooming, and body language non-verbal skills, which is very important for a homeopath, budding homeopath, because he has to create his entire future in homeopathy. Subsequently, his lecture will be followed by a very important aspect of personality development, which is teamwork and teamwork skills, where we often lack. This is a presentation where you learn all the aspects of teamwork skills. Once we start working in teamwork, there are problems, and Dr. Sudeepti Singh will be there to help you in problem solving skills, followed by, once you have nurtured all the things, you will be learning about all the different types of personality and their homeopathic correlation. And finally, in the final aspect of this elective, you will be listening bird's eye view on personality disorders. Now, as you further go into this lecture, in this presentation, in this literary journey with me, first of all, in the back of your mind, think, what is personality? What do you know about personality? What is your idea of personality? Once you take a deep thought into this, come with me and listen what is the definition of personality. Personality is rational, logical, behaviorally, how individuals differ in their reaction. Now, reaction to what? Reaction to a stimuli. Reaction to what type of stimuli? The stimuli, students, could be internal or it could be external. Now, every word in this paragraph needs to be understood very, very carefully and meticulously, because every word has a whole meaning in deciding what his personality is. The first step is rationally, logically, behaviorally. So, what was your rational? There are options, and among other options, your reason gifted mind said, let's select personality development and teamwork skills. So, when you reasonably think about a situation, when you reason out on any issue, that is one aspect. Logic, when you used how, why, how could it be helpful, how could it be beneficial, what are the pros, what are the cons in it, what are the negative side, what are the positive side. When you try to justify a situation through logical mind, and you all know homeopathy is a gift of inductive logic. So, logic is a very important part of homeopathy as well as in personality. The next important word in definition is behaviorally. My students, the most important part by which we all know each other is our conduct, and that conduct of an individual towards his friends, towards his family members, when he is alone, when he is in social company, is called his behavior. So, together an amalgamation of rational thinking, logic induced thinking, behavioral oriented approach, that governs the reaction of an individual towards a stimuli, and that reaction is identified as his personality. Now, we all are exposed to certain situations, but are our reactions same? That is a $1 billion question to answer. No, our answers, our reactions are never the same. How we interact with our parents, how we interact with our colleagues, how we interact with our seniors, juniors, that is all different. So, this is the spectrum of personality. Simultaneously, as a homeopath, stimulus is very important for you to understand. The stimulus could be external, the stimulus could be internal. And this is a long, vast topic of understanding the stimuli. But for keeping you short to understand the stimulus, this stimulus could be anything. Right now, when you're going through this lecture, several thoughts are coming to your mind. You may be enjoying it, you may be looking forward to it, you may be seeing what could be next, interesting next is coming. So that is a reaction to this mental stimuli while going on through this presentation. Simultaneously, if there is a very important engagement in the evening and you must be preparing at the back of your mind for that evening, that is a personal stimuli going back in the mind. Along with this, apart from this presentation, stimulus could be of different types. Internal stimulus could be of different types. They could be arising from emotions. They could be arising from the will aspect of your thinking. Simultaneously, stimulus may be related with memory also. Sometimes when we are sitting in a classroom, sitting in company, memories, they come to us and we either smile or we become serious. So that is a reaction to a memory stimuli. So remember students, reaction to a stimuli for every individual on this earth governs his personality. For homeopaths, the external stimuli are also very important, just like the internal stimuli. The external stimuli could range from a very important thing like weather. There are so many individuals who are sensitive to weather, who feel very proliferating, who feel enjoyable when the weather is bright, sunny. Some feel very comfortable when the weather is rainy. Others, they feel comfortable in cold weather. Oh, there are so many things to eat. Others feel fine in warm weather. So, how an individual reacts to the thermal stimuli, that also governs his personality. And in homeopaths, there is a very special tendency to identify those people who are very sensitive to atmospheric changes. The geosentience, as it is said, is a very important part. There are some people who are extremely sensitive to the weather changes. There may be a bright sunny day today, but today when there is a bright sunny day, they can say tomorrow there will be changes in the weather. There may be rains which will be coming, cloudy weather. They can forecast, and that type of reaction to a stimuli is very important in homeopathy. So personality is one aspect of homeopathy which governs a huge reliance in homeopathy. So rational, logical, behavioral disposition of an individual, rational, logical, behavioral disposition of an individual or his reaction towards a stimuli is called as personality. Now, what is the structure of personality? These three words which are written are very important for you to understand, not only in the terms of their superficial meaning, but the deep-seated meaning that they carry. The structure of a personality is divided in three parts: id, ego, superego. Id is that part where someone just craves, meaning it is a psychical domain operating unconsciously. This is the very important part. It is a psychical domain which is operating unconsciously. And what do we mean by unconsciously? That means if we want something, then we need to get it. We don't look at it anyhow, whether there are chances of achieving it or not. No, we just need to accomplish it. A small baby, 6 months old baby, when he cries for a milk, he doesn't see his mother is engaged. He doesn't know mother is engaged in some important work, family work, professional work. He just cries. That part of a human personality where unconditionally, unconsciously, whatever you need, you just need at that particular moment, comes as your id. Ego, the reality principle. Now, what is the reality principle? It is a self-preservatory function where we analyze ourselves, and based on the conditions of reality, we select what is to be done. The third part of personality, the structure of personality, is superego. Now, this is based on principles of morals. What is right? What is wrong? Should I do this thing or shouldn't I? How will it reflect? How will it reflect on my nature? Whether it will have a good impression or a bad impression. So the moral part of personality is covered by the superego. Now students, a very important thing about personality is coming to your mind. That is the fundamental 5 personality traits and how they express. You see, this is very, very important. When I begin about 5 personality traits, what do this mean? This means that the personality could be divided in 5 fundamental pillars. It roams, it revolves around these 5 fundamental pillars. And these pillars have a multiple dimension. Multiple dimension. We can talk on any one aspect, like first aspect as you are seeing, the emotions aspect. There could be a bulk of lectures not only by one single person like me. There could be bulk of lectures not only by me but several other brilliant homeopaths on this single word emotion. The emotion part of personality is very, very delicate, very sensitive and a broad spectrum. It affects you from the entire range, right from your birth till the end of your life. The emotions predominate you. The emotions are the most inborn, intricate part, innate part of your personality. And there are range of emotions. The first part where we can say, the first part which we want to know, a person could be quiet. Now what does this mean by when he say he is quiet? Does it say he is not speaking? No, that is not the dimension of being quiet. The quiet reflects to his nature, his attitude, his behavior. When he faces a threat, when he faces a challenge, when he faces any situation which is not normal, which is not happy-go-lucky, which has placed some challenge in front of him, which has placed panic in front of him, which has pressed fear button in front of him. In any situation when an individual is placed which is not easygoing, which is not comfortable, which is not relaxing, mind very strong, his logical oriented senses very pious and his behavior very soft, very smooth, not affected by the situation. That means whatever threat, whatever challenge, whatever unwanted, uneasy scenario erupted in front of a person, ignoring that situation, keeping control over his senses, the person remains stable, the person remains reason gifted, the person remains logic oriented. Such a type of person is known to be calm. How do we say it? When a child, an individual is scolded by his teacher, how does he takes that thing? He takes it in a healthy way. Yes, I haven't done my homework. Since my homework wasn't done, the duty of my teacher was to make me understand that my actions are not correct. And since my actions are not correct, because of my wrong actions, I am being scolded by my teacher. Now that is a reason gifted, logic oriented output of a student on his simple mistake. But it doesn't happen that way. Next example, adolescence, teenagers, when you are growing up, current state of your mind, when parents make you understand anything, this is right, this is wrong, don't do this, don't do that, don't focus on your mobile too much, don't study too late, don't spend your times on some unnecessary persons. There is an immediate reaction. What? A reaction of a rebellion or a reaction of a rejection or a reaction of no, you are not correct, no, you are not understanding. But what should have happened? You should have listened to your father, taking a deep thought what your mother wants to say, what is the hidden truth, what is reading between the lines, what do they want to convey is for your better future. Take a deep breath. Try to think why they want you to amend your ways, why your persons who care for you, your parents, your siblings, those who nurture you, care you, they want to improve you on a certain aspect. At that time, instead of a straight away rejection, trying to understand, trying to be humble, and thinking about what greater noble idea they want to impregnate into your mind. That is when you remain calm. Try to be calm. That is a very, very important part of personality, because several battles were lost in anger, ego, and sheer rejection. If you are calm, you can take things in a very positive way. Even from adversity, you can have an opportunity. That is the gift of being calmness. You will rarely be able to take a wrong or a bad decision which you will regret later in your life. Because if you are not calm, then your mind is clouded by several thoughts, and those thoughts are neither reason gifted, neither they are logical. And any decision which is made on unreasonable, illogical thoughts is bound to make you feel guilty or any other set of other range of emotions which are not beneficial for you, which are not productive for you, which are not fruitful for you. So, being calm has a very, very important aspect on your personality, on your behavior, and shaping up your future. So, you understand the simple emotion of being calm is so important. When you are a working professional, you have understood adulthood, you have understood childhood. When you are an adult, when you are a working professional, there will be a hostile environment. There will be peer pressures. There will be challenges from any and every aspect of persons surrounding you. What will you do? With how many of whom you will fight? With how many of whom you will reject? With how many of the persons you will say, no, I don't want to do. No, no. With how many of persons you will let your anger vent away. And when you do with multiple persons, then it becomes a very black spot, a blot on your personality. You should understand the significance of calmness. You should understand the smile can hide a million scars. You should understand the smile can wipe away the anger of the other person. You should understand a calm and a pious attitude can help you win several battles. The opposite of calm is nervousness. What is nervousness? When you feel the situation is not under your control. When you feel the situation is overpowering you. When you are sitting in an exam and the first question you study and you see, oh my God, I don't know anything about it. That is when you are bound to be nervous. But if you think retrospect, take a deep breath, there might be several thoughts coming to your mind. So being immediate, being hasty, and letting your confidence down makes you nervous. Letting your guard down makes you nervous. Hence, it is very important for you to understand being calm, not being nervous will help you win over a situation, will help you tackle a challenging situation in a comfortable, smooth way. Definite is the next important word. What do you mean by definite? That means something which does not lack uncertainty in it. That means you are sure about the result, you are sure about the outcome. That is a definite part of an emotion. Now, this is yet another important thing for you to understand, that definite emotions are those emotions which are uncontrollable in your nature and they come and they overpower you. Now, what happens if you are bound to get irritated on trifles? What happens if you are bound to get angry on little issues? What happens if you are bound to stay calm, if you are bound to stay reason gifted whenever there is a uneasy, unadaptable situation? What happens when you focus on your mind, when you focus on your memory, when you focus on your comprehension and think, yes, this problem I am facing could be solved in so many multiple ways? What happens when you don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution. So being definite has again two parts: definite in a positive outcome, being definite in a negative outcome. And just like as the colors of Holi are coming, we all know such things are in a mixed bag. Sometimes we are definite about a positive outcome, sometimes we are definite about a negative outcome. It is all emotion based. But once our emotions are guided by a sense of prejudiceness, then the positive outcome is a rare happening. We will not experience positive outcome with a prejudiced mindset. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann has said a homeopath cannot be prejudiced. For every situation, for every place, for every thought, we should be looking it on a space which has reason gifted mind, which should be non-prejudiced. We should have an open frontier. We should be open to all the different types of thoughts. Next, if you are definite, the opposite part of your personality will be uncertain. Now, when does uncertainty arise? That is a billion-dollar question, important part. When are you uncertain? Think, take a thought in your mind. When do you become uncertain? When you are not prepared for any situation. You are uncertain when you are not prepared for your exams. You are uncertain when you are not prepared for your stage performance. You are uncertain when you are not prepared for your lyrics for which you have to sing. So ultimately, uncertainty is again related with your behavior of being careless, of being not prepared, of being not taking things seriously, and a whole spectrum of things. So the two important parts of emotions are certain, uncertain, definite, unpredictable, being quiet, being nervous. But do these things have any role in homeopathy? A thought should come to your mind. Dr. Tyagi is teaching you nervousness. What is nervousness plays role in homeopathy? My fellow students, my homeopaths, this nervousness is a very, very important symptom in homeopathy. If you have a nervousness while appearing on a stage, there are a set of homeopathic remedies you should know. If you have nervousness appearing before any exam, there are a certain remedies for this nervousness. If you are feeling nervous while going for a new situation and you are anxious and nervous and you don't know, you are uncertain about the outcome, there is a remedy for that too. So that means homeopathy is very strongly personality based. Yes, this is true. When we practice homeopathy, we have to ascertain the personality, and this you will be studying in further lectures where how personality is important in homeopathy. So whatever emotions you are studying here, being calm, a calm person has a reason gifted mind, and when that calm person has a reason gifted mind, he difficultly cracks under pressure. Not easily he cracks under pressure. So he is a performer, he is a diligent person, he could be responsible, he is task worthy, he completes up his task, he is diligent, and being diligent, being conscientious is a very important part in homeopathy. Next is cheerful. What is cheerful? Cheerful is mirth, 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 happiness. These all are parts of homeopathy. In books of homeopathy, we will often find these words when you study Materia Medica. In your repertory, you will know these words: cheerful, mirth, happiness. Why do we feel happy? Have you ever thought of that? You should know happiness is a reaction to a situation, and that reaction is coming how? How you respond to a situation. When you don't crack under pressure, when you face adversity, when you face the challenge and face it with your full zeal and effort, you smile even in the darkest hours. You are not panicking even in the worst challenge of your life. That is your cheerfulness reflected as a simple smile or a calm attitude. Cheerfulness is always rated as a reaction to a situation, as a reaction to a news, as a reaction to a happening. What is happening around you? You may be in a bowl of soup where you are neglected by everyone. And even if not neglected by everyone, you feel you are neglected by anyone. You are living in a false dream where you feel you are neglected by everyone. And when you feel too much, you feel dejected, you feel let out, and you remove yourself from everyone, now you are going into a stage of a remedy, homeopathic remedy. As you will go ahead in your classes, you will learn what remedy is to be selected when a person feels abandoned, forsaken by his or her loved ones. Naturally, you can't be cheerful when such a thing is happening in your life. If you can't be cheerful, you should take it as a reason gifted approach. Okay, why this is happening? What can I do to improve it? And if from your conscious the answer comes you are performing at your best, then it is better to walk smiling away from that situation, because that company, that situation, that surrounding doesn't fits you. So cheerful is not being stupidly laughing. Cheerful is taking any and every situation from a positive frame of mind, trying to extract silver lining from the darkest cloud and turning things positively. Are we able to do that? Answer is no. That is what life teaches us. What do? We feel bad. We feel let out. We feel delusioned. We feel segregated. We feel cast away. We feel let down. And we think very deeply in these things. That is when you become melancholic. And there are plenty of remedies I can name which are melancholic. But as I told you, cheerfulness is related to a situation, cheerfulness is related to a reaction. Simultaneously, when an individual is feeling melancholic, when you are feeling melancholic, that is also related to a situation. And going behind melancholy, what is making you feel like that? Why are you feeling like that? That is when you learn the importance of melancholy in homeopathy. Being melancholic could be a reaction, but why that reaction is generated may be due to death of a very near and dear one. Yes, you are bound to feel melancholic. And when it overpowers you, it deranges your health, you go to the realm of disease, you suffer from disease. So melancholy was responsible for the deviation of the vital principle. But more important than melancholy, what caused you to be melancholic? As I narrated, a death of a near and dear one could be a cause. A financial loss. He could be a 40, 45-year-old person, very lively, very jolly, and suddenly you see words don't come from his mouth. The person who used to crack jokes on every matter, who used to be cheerful, who used to make others laugh, now suddenly has become silent, suddenly has become sullen, suddenly is not responding to the brightest jokes. He is going into a melancholic situation. And when you learn about his past, oh, he suffered a very huge financial loss in stock market, in factory. That is one reason, and that could be taken care by homeopathy. Oh, he suffered a disappointment, monetary loss. He gave his friend money. Now they disappointed him. They ditched him. They disappointed him. They cheated on him. Yes, you can take care of that melancholy through homeopathy. So it is a very deep-seated thing, going into emotion. It is not superficial, my fellow homeopaths. My dear students, please remember this thing. How a person can come out with his inner mind. That is the art of homeopathy you have to nurture in your next years. And when you become an expert in nurturing in the art of homeopathy, you will be an expert as a scientific prescriber of homeopathy. When you are melancholic due to some other reasons, think what other reasons could be there which can make you melancholic in your age. When you don't have friends, you can be melancholic. When there is a death of your friend, very near and dear friend, you can be melancholic. When despite of working hard, you're not getting good grades, then you can be melancholic. So being melancholic at your age could have many reasons. Simultaneously, soft emotions can spring melancholy in you. Not being judicious with your time schedule, focusing your times on stupid things which won't last in your life forever, focusing on time on bubble emotions, as I say. Focusing your time on bubble emotions will make you melancholic. Next comes a very important part, extroversion, extraversion. This extroversion is called as where you are very outspoken, where you are very civil at one end, and the opposite of that could be very rude. Now, what is a civil? Civil means when you respond very politely, when you respond very courteously, when you respond in such a manner that it soothes, it is preferable, it is accommodable, and the person feels very easy, very presentable with your answers. That is when you are civil. And when your answers are very cross, very uncivil, very undiplomatic, very irritable, you know you are going into the realms of chamomilla, a homeopathic remedy, which has these keynotes of being uncivil, cross, pudent, rude, cannot return an uncivil answer. The rudeness is related to a very, very harsh, very undignified, very irresponsible, irrespectable reaction to a normal situation. When someone is corresponding you, asking you, talking you, communicating you in a very normal, calm, peaceful manner, and you reject and you react in a very impolite, in a very uncivil, shouting, shrieking, aggressive way, which is never expected on your end, then you are rude in your answers. The extroversion has one important feature, being jolly. Being jolly means being very much conveniently carrying out a conversation where the other persons are enjoying your company. You are the life of a company, you are the live wire of a company, you are the live wire of a party, you are the essence of your social group. Whenever you are around, people feel happy. That is being a jolly natured person. And extreme part of that jolly natured comes when you are sad, when you are depressed, when you are dejected, when you are expected to share your thoughts, when you are expected to share your emotions, and all you can offer is your mundane silence, your pessimistic point of view. So that is sadness. And as I told you, my dear fellow homeopaths, my dear students, soon becoming homeopaths, these things play a very important role in homeopathy. We have remedies which have a very prominent feature, sadness. We have a remedy where they are so eloquent. Eloquent means highly communicative, impressionably communicate. When they communicate, they create an impression. When they speak, people want to listen them. That is eloquent. Being jolly is being well-mannered, happy-go-lucky nature. And this is a root of some very important homeopathic remedies. Simultaneously, being rude in nature is also covered in homeopathy. So you see, these parts of personality which you are trying to listen today, which you are trying to understand today, which you are trying to comprehend today, tomorrow they will be a very close part of your homeopathic practice. So whatever you are studying today will pave the way for your future. Next, third important part of personality is candidness. Students, you have to focus on candidness. Candidness is a broad spectrum sphere where personality deals with being theoretical and concrete. Theoretical means theorizing, making moles, making sandstones pillars, making castles of sand which won't stand long in your life. Being concrete means hard. Being concrete means strong, evidence based, which is based on logic, which could not be rejected by any argument. So there are theorizing personalities in homeopathic medicines. One is lycopodium, you will see later in your life. So theorizing is an attitude, theorizing is a behavior, theorizing is a conduct where person talks a lot. Okay, simultaneously some people confuse theorizing for boasting. No, these two are totally different things. So theorizing is against concrete. Next, extrovert means being diversified. When you have a very large knowledge on all the different topics, so you have a diversified approach. And being diversified often helps in homeopathy, because when you will delve in homeopathy, when you will go deep in homeopathy, you will learn the concepts of stalwarts, Dr. James Tyler Kent. You will learn the concepts of Dr. Stuart Claus in philosophy. You will learn the diversified concept of Sir John Weir in philosophy, Carol Dunham in philosophy. So diversified is being a very important part of a personality. You can't be monotonous. I will study only Kent. No, you can't be like that. You have to have a diversified approach of Burnett. You have to learn the approach of Dr. Clark. If you think my Kent's repertory is okay, then what about Bell's diarrhea? That is a very important repertory and you will learn about it in future. So remember this word diversified. It will be tagged with you in your homeopathic journey throughout your life. And when I say throughout your life, I well mean it. Not only as a student, when you'll go and practice, you may come up with several cases of fibroid with you. You may come up with several cases of migraine in front of you. You may come up with several cases of tonsillitis in front of you. But will you prescribe a single remedy, same remedy for them? Answer is no. Homeopathy is purely individualized. Homeopathy is purely and customized, tailor aspect, individual specific remedy will be coming for all the different cases of fibroid, tonsillitis or migraine. No two cases have the same portrait of their sickness. There will be a broad diversity in the presenting complaints of your cases of migraine. There will be a diversity in cases of fibroid. There will be a huge diversity in children affected with tonsillitis. Despite of having bad tonsils, some will crave cold water. Despite of having bad tonsillitis, some will crave hot water. Despite of having bad tonsillitis, some will crave sweet, some will crave sour. So this diversity is an innate part of human personality, and when it is an innate part of human personality, it is bound to be innate part of homeopathy. Now diversity is mundane versus mundane. Mundane means monotonous, means repetitive, as I told you. Next important part of diversity, extroversion, is autonomous. Now what do you mean by autonomous? You have studied autonomic nervous system in your first year physiology. Autonomous being self-reliant, self-sufficient, self-capacity of indulging in taking up a task and completing up a task. But can each and everything will be done autonomously by you? Answer is no. There are some things which you have to accomplish all on your own. But my students, teamwork will ultimately prevail, and you will learn a lot about teamwork when my fellow colleagues will share their insights with you on teamwork and teamwork skills. So versus autonomous is depending, and we have both type of persons in our life, in our surrounding. There are some persons who are totally dependent on their peers for everything. Fetus who has just born, who is an infant, it is his physiology to depend on his mother. But if the same fetus, when he is 15 years old and you see his mama cleaning his mouth, that is not dependability which is acceptable. That becomes a very important part in homeopathy, this observation that he is still dependent, a 21-year-old boy, still dependent for taking decisions of his life. Every small, minute consultation is made with everyone around or with family members. That is something where your thought should be provoked. Should one be so dependable? Because being dependable or being autonomous, these two poles, both these two poles play a very important role in homeopathy. Now coming to the fourth part, warmth, being kind-hearted, being soft, being very emotional, being very nice to persons. And on the other part, you are cruel. On the other part, you are very inhuman. So these two poles of emotions are very important for you to understand, because again the remedy which will come into your mind when you will remember this line in future, being cruel, you may remember a homeopathic remedy, anacardium. Simultaneously, a very important part of warmth is reliance and distrust. When somebody can rely upon you, when somebody feels totally dependable upon you, when somebody feel if you have given a responsibility, the task will be completed, that is reliable. And when you carry up an image where nothing could be accomplished by you, you are always doubted of your outcomes, then you become distrust comes into your personality. So you are seeing how emotions are being incorporated in your personality through your behavior, through your conduct, through your actions. The next, a very important part of warmth is being cooperative. How social you are, how helping you are, how much easily you are readily available for others, for their difficulties, for their jobs. Or on the opposite part, you are totally shrugging off, giving cold shoulder to your counterparts when they approach for any help to you. So you see, this is how the fundamental pillars, the four fundamental pillars are being expressed in your personality. And when these four fundamental pillars expressed in your personality, as a homeopath, you are bound to identify them and reciprocate in terms of homeopathy through these pillars. Now coming to the last pillar of homeopathy, which is a very important pillar, meticulousness. The meticulousness means being a perfectionist. You all know the Bollywood movie says a particular hero is perfectionist. So being perfectionist means everything has to be tip-top, arranged, orderly, on time, perfect. And meticulousness has again several different components. When you are very methodological, when you are very systematic in the work you are doing, you are methodological. And opposite of that is chaos. Your no work is systematic. You are never coming on time. You are always working against your deadlines. Your deadlines are never complete on time. You are always mismanaged. Being meticulous has other impression, vigilant. That means you are very careful of your surroundings. You can foresee what you can project, what problems could come under your way. And the opposite of being vigilant is being ignorant. That means you can't focus on what could be the outcome of a situation. You are not proactive. You can't forecast the outcome of your work. That becomes ignorant. So meticulousness has so many important things: being ignorant, being vigilant, being methodological, being chaotic. And lastly, when you are working in an extreme diligence manner, conscientious manner, in a perfect manner, when you are taking every minute detail, when you are considering every minute detail of your work, the opposite of that will be when you don't consider any or every detail of your work. That means you are inconsiderate. And when are you inconsiderate? When you are unfocused in your life, when you don't know the outcomes of your work, when you don't know the fundamental key compositions of your work, when you don't know the structural framework of your work, then you are inconsiderate.